Hello, Dr. Childress here, doing my Vitae Series. Welcome. So we're up to the point where I'm moving out. I'm graduating from Pepperdine and moving into my internship or my pre-doctoral internship year, or at least I'm finishing my coursework at Pepperdine and moving into pre-doctoral internship. And I'm going to talk separately about that internship and supervised and what that means for a clinical psychologist and how we learn how to do psychotherapy. And that's, 60% of being a clinical psychologist is learning the information. The coursework information at Pepperdine is 60%. 40% is the supervision. You learn how to do psychotherapy by working with a supervisor who is using you as the instrument to deliver psychotherapy. And so as that psychologist is using you to deliver psychotherapy, you are learning the psychotherapy of that supervisor. And so I'll talk about that separately. But that we're moving into that internship year. Now, I want to be a clinical child and family therapist. Okay. So I'm going to do a child and family internship. The other thing is I'm a dad of a little kid, married. My wife's working out here. She's got family business in the LA area. And so I need to stay in LA. So those are the two requirements for my internship. It needs to be child and family, and it needs to be in LA. Internships are very competitive. Oh, and it needs to be APA accredited. So those are the three APA accredited in Los Angeles, child and family. And now everybody from the country, across the country, is applying for internships. And so it's very competitive. In LA, child and family, APA accredited. And so I set my sight on a few. And one of them was CHLA. And I wanted to go to CHLA. That was my top choice, CHLA, Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, for a couple of reasons. One is the medical component of it, pediatric psychologist, and the psychologically involved medical disorders. Interesting area. So that would be one. They had a treatment clinic, community treatment clinic that dealt with Medicare. So we got all the ADHD, oppositional defiance, school behavior problems. And so my specialty area I was looking to do was ADHD. Okay, that was the point of the spear specialty, is ADHD, child and family therapy. So, and CHLA, Children's Hospital, had that component in their clinic. We learned medical stuff. And then the real draw was early childhood. They had an early childhood training program with Marie Polson. And I was very attracted to the early childhood stuff. Ed Shafransky's class on the psychoanalytic development of the child included a neurodevelopment component. There's some stuff happening right about 1980s and 90s where there was a marriage of psychoanalysis and neuropsychology. Wow, that's really cool. And it's out of the Bowlby attachment, and then into Stern and Tronick and Beebe and Trevarthen on intersubjectivity. There's two relationship systems, attachment and psychological connection, or intersubjectivity. There's two relationship systems. The intersubjectivity is mirror neurons. We know even the neurological structure of it. Alan Shore worked out the connection between the psychoanalytic models of Bowlby and object relations and Stollerow. He put that together with the research on infant development, Stern, Trevarthen, and Shore kind of activated them, and Stern and Trana, and they just go, yeah, we got it. We know how the brain works, and we know how it's developing the various neural networks in early childhood. Language, emotion regulation, behavioral regulation, sensory motor. We know how it works. We know what's happening. Attachment bonding, everything. We got it. Now, the problem is most people don't understand that. Most psychologists don't understand, because they never study early childhood. They never study the neurodevelopment of the brain in the first 5 years. They should. It solves stuff. We can pretty much solve every software problem of the brain. The hardware problems, autism, fetal alcohol exposure, Down syndrome, no. Those are hardware problems in the wiring. But the software problems, school behavior problems, oppositional defiant, what I would call high protest signaling, ADHD, all the other stuff of software, we can solve. most people don't know how to solve it. Most psychologists and a vast number of MFTs don't know how to solve things because they haven't studied the neurodevelopment of the brain. They don't know how the brain works. They don't know how child development works and children work. So there's a problem out there. And I'll talk about that in a few seconds. But I wanted to go so Ed Shapransky provided that, wow, neuropsychology, psychoanalytic, early childhood. CHLA has an early childhood program. God, I want to go there. So CHLA was my top choice, and I got the internship there. That's where I'm going to go. I nurtured them and cultivated them and got an internship, my pre-doc internship at Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. A wonderful training program again. So we all were in the community clinic working with ADHD kinds of issues, but we also got assigned a rotation. And I was really working to try to get that rotation in early childhood. I missed it. Okay, they gave it to a couple of others, and they put me over in the medical rotation. I still kind of floated into that therapeutic preschool and there were seminars and stuff. And so I, even though I wasn't formally in the early childhood program, I was in the early childhood program. But I'm doing with ADHD. And ADHD shows up in school age kids, typically around 7, 8 years old, and 8, 9, 10. A large component of school-based interventions and testing kinds of stuff. And so we also had a testing rotation where we'd see people and do testing protocols for learning disabilities and various things. The medical rotation I got was spina bifida. And so I was the clinical psychologist assigned to the spina bifida clinic under the supervision, mentoring of Dr. Simon. And so she was the head of the spina bifida psychology team, and I was her intern. And the cancer had one. Ernie Katz over there, he had his intern in cancer, the nephrology, the kidney kind of stuff, had their psychologist. Carl was assigned over there, and the early childhood had their people. And so did my year of internship at CHLA, got my degree. Then to get licensed, we have to do a year of post-doctoral supervised internship. And I was doing well at CHLA. It was providing me with everything I needed, and I was doing good. And so I talked to them, and typically wasn't their policy to take on postdocs from the internship because they think they like to get cross-pollination and stuff. But they liked me. I liked them. It was a good fit. And so they took me on as a postdoc as well. And so that's when I moved up a level with in the spina bifida clinic and providing consultations there. And I started to be moved into a more supervisory role with the pre-doctoral interns. I'm a postdoc now, so they're training me up to be a professional, so they're teaching me supervision. So I ran the supervision group with the pre-doc interns. And then I developed my specialty in ADHD. And so that was my postdoc year is I developed a training program for the interns in ADHD. And so I had a series of seminars on that. And so that was developing my specialty in that. That was my postdoc year. Then out of the postdoc, I'm at CHLA. And they heard about me at CHOCS, Children's Hospital of Orange County, next county over, Children's Hospital of Orange County. Got my name, knew that I was early childhood, knew that I was ADHD early childhood. And CHOCS, Children's Hospital of Orange County, was forming this collaborative project with University of California Irvine Child Development Center, Jim Swanson down there, on the identification of ADHD in preschoolers. And there was a clinical research program about the neurodevelopmental remediation of attention problems using computer-based interventions. The question they were looking at was, if we identify ADHD in preschoolers, 3 to 5-year-olds, can we change the neural networks regarding attention and impulse control using computer-based models? Interesting. So that was Jim Swanson's interest in this. And we got First Five funding, which is a tobacco tax thing for early childhood, and so there was linked into that. And Jim Swanson, Dr. Swanson at UCI Child Development Center, is one of the top people in ADHD in the country. His Child Development Center has a therapeutic school, a treatment school, non-public school. And so kids that get kicked out of the public school system for their excessive ADHD symptoms, impulsivity, behavior control problems, would be enrolled in, or could be enrolled in the UCI Child Development School, non-public school. And 4 classrooms, 2-way mirrors, extremely well-trained professional staff. And so in the classroom, they just had floaters who were behavior therapists moving around, making sure everybody stays organized and stuff. And so they have one of the top research school settings in the country. And one of the implications of that is all of the research on school-based interventions from ADHD are pretty much coming out of Jim Swanson's lab. He's one of the top 5 or 6 people. And there was a big study in the 1990s, MTA study. It's called Multimodal Treatment of ADHD, MTA. It was a big 6 sites research study, huge, major research study looking at medication versus therapy, behavior therapy, and looking at the effects of that. And Jim Swanson was one of the 6 sites on that. So here I'm at CHLA, Children's Hospital Los Angeles, early childhood, ADHD, postdoc, and I get a call from the director of psychology at Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, Children's Hospital of Orange County, and they're putting together this collaborative project with UCI. Wants to know if I want to become the lead psychologist on the CHOC side. So they're putting together the collaborative project. So there's everybody on one side is matched by everybody on the other side. And so if you have an administrator on this side, you have an administrator on that side. And so you had 2 psychologists, one from UCI, one hired by UCI, and one hired by CHOC. And we had a little bit different roles. So UCI one was to coordinate the parenting skills classes. My role was to sort of instruct the clinicians in the parenting skills model. It's called a COPE model. It's a Socratic method of teaching parenting skills. And so I was on that side. I was the lead clinical psychologist, and we had postdocs come in, and I was also the supervisor for the postdocs who did the testing or participated in that project. And it was to identify ADHD in preschoolers and then do this second level down. So follow me over to the next one, and I'll talk about that CHOC UCI collaboration.